All right, welcome to today's VidTal podcast. So we have a special guest, James Van Elswyk. James is just an unbelievably experienced and smart, just brilliant direct response marketer in e-commerce, in lead gen, in live events. So James is a co-founder of GeekOut. He also has had many successful lead generation companies, campaigns, multiple e-commerce brands he's exited from. So just a wealth of knowledge. And yeah, we're going to get into that in just a sec. But just want to remind you that right now you can get a 7-day free trial of VidTal, our VidTal YouTube ad library with over 8 million YouTube ads listed, landing pages. See what your competitors are doing right now on YouTube ads. Go to vidtao.com. That's VIDTAO.com and claim your free 7-day trial. Also, if you want to brainstorm about direct response video advertising for your company, our agency Inceptly has managed over $250 million on YouTube for direct response companies all across the board, many different verticals. So love to brainstorm with you on creatives, on media buying strategies. Just go to Inceptly, that's INCEPTLY.com/call, and we'll chat with you and come up with some new ideas to scale your direct response campaigns. With all that said, let's dive into the show. Can't wait to share it with you. James, welcome, man.
What's up, buddy? It's been a bit.
It's been a while. So you're split testing. You split tested LA, Paris, LA, New York. So
yeah,
what's
been
the
a hell of a run. If I go through the whole thing, starting when my wife and I met, we did Amsterdam for a few years. We did Israel for a few years. Did 3 years in Paris, and then we decided to move back to the United States. And she hadn't lived here before. We were like, let's split test New York and LA, like typical media buyer. Let's split test. How much data is necessary? So we figured like we could have like a 3-year time period to acquire enough data to decide on a location. So we did our 3 years in LA, in West Hollywood, and it was cool. And then now we're in the process of testing this new variant in New York.
New variant, yeah.
Yeah. And so far, New York is clearly winning.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Clearly.
So is statistically significant 5 months in, would you say? Or
look, there's a lot of early micro conversions. Like there's some conversion events and some early metrics that I think I can use to predict success in the overall test. Yeah. I would like to collect a bit more data. There could be some terrible outliers that I don't see what's happening.
Very true. We had an earthquake just now.
Yeah, we just had an earthquake, so that was an interesting effect on the data. But yeah, it's a lot easier attribution than traffic sources. That's for sure. I don't have LA and New York both trying to claim conversions and stuff like this. So no, New York's been a lot better. Really cool crowd here and the people we've met. Marketing community, non-marketing community have been great.
Yeah, super excited for Geek Out coming up in New York very soon. So
it's going to be absolute killer. Yeah. The people that we have speaking, the people that we have coming is just really cream of the crop this time. Often we have cream of the crop, but this time as I'm going through the attendees, I'm super impressed with the people.
That's badass.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, okay, so here we are, like the direct response philosophy is just fully infiltrated your mind. It's how you think.
Yeah.
Were you born that way? Like, how did we end up here?
No, I've always optimized. Like, that's just, I don't know, systems and optimization and split testing have just been part of my head since I was a little kid. So when I found media buying, it kind of was like a nice match. But as far as how I got into the biz, if you will, I was a call center guy. I mean, I was a lot of things before that, but I was a call center guy, and we started generating our own leads, direct mail, TV, radio, and then Google search for the call center. And the call center, I was optimizing the same way, like revenue per seat and this and that. And I started to see the potential there. And eventually I just realized, like, the lead gen guys are making a lot more money than me with a lot less effort. It was like a dude and a developer was making the same profit I was, and I had to have like hundreds of people. So then I left and I taught myself Facebook ads. And then it's been like quite a run. I've ran everything, the affiliate stuff, lead gen, owned offers, did a hearing aid company, sold that, ran a lot of like assassin pillager style stuff, which has been kind of what I've done the last couple of years, just finding sick offers and cranking them real fast while they're still available, which we should probably talk about some because it's been crazy there. And now I'm in the process of launching or just launched my own skincare brand with my wife.
Nice.
Which is like the first time I've ever had to like run ads and respect the brand, which has been like super challenging. And now I'm like hyper protective. Like I'm the asshole that's like, oh, that's off brand. That's off brand. I don't want to run that ad.
A little bit off there.
I'm that guy now, dude. You know? Also, I got the copywriting agency, 0 to 1. We write copy for a lot of brands. So just super deep still in the game, you know? But launching this brand, it's been crazy because like on the Facebook side, like obviously I have media buyers and stuff that have been scaling these things for a while for me, but I'm not in the accounts like I once was.
Mm-hmm.
Partially because if I log in, the account gets banned. So I have to do all my account management through people like on screen shares.
Yeah.
But with this brand, since it's with my wife, she has the laptop and I actually was uploading the campaigns, like touching it myself.
Wow.
And I just feel like such a simp. Like every sale that happens, I look the people up. I'm like on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, like trying to find them and understand them. Yeah. Where normally like I can do thousands of conversions a day and never even think about who those people are.
Just numbers.
Yeah, but with this brand, I'm just like super protective and interested. So it's been kind of a fun experience to go all the way backwards.
Wow, so that's crazy. So, I mean, what made you decide to go from just being a total opportunist to being like, I'm going to build a brand here?
Oof, a lot of things. Yeah. I think a lot of it was just that I've had a lot of partners over the years. Mm-hmm. And I've learned to understand that with e-commerce, you have to have, I think, definitely 2 partners, probably 3, because it's like a complicated business. Like I can definitely handle the traffic side, but if I try to build a brand myself and I'm handling traffic and brand, I'm not going to have that checks and balance. So I'll always go to traffic and conversions and I won't really have a brand, right? I'll just basically create an affiliate offer. With my wife, she is so intense and so structured and so locked in on her vision. I felt like she would be a good partner for this. And her background is in like luxury brand management. She worked for Christian Louboutin. She got her degree in luxury management in Paris. So she had like a skill set, like a breadth of knowledge about how luxury brands work, as well as like great work ethic and intensity. And she can balance my strength and decision-making. So I just felt like this would be an opportunity. Like I found the right partner and I do want to build something that's cool. Yeah. So I felt like this was probably the best opportunity I had to make something cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you're taking all that direct response experience and then combining it with like luxury brands, which means your margins are.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say I'm like in luxury. I'd say I'm like in premium price range.
Got it.
The people that are buying our products, when I'm spying on them and stuff, they have money. They probably are into trends. They probably are into wearing nice brands. Yeah. We've had some super rich people buy our products. That's cool. I checked it out. We had one billionaire lady buy our product.
Whoa,
we had one lady buy our product that was involved in that school scandal, like when they were paying people to get. She did a month in prison, but she's got a $25 million house, dude. You know.
You know what? Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I can't believe this woman just bought off an image ad. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. So it's been trying to use conversion-based tactics, right? And pitch effectively, but not do it in a trashy way. It's been less challenging than I thought. Yeah. You know, like in designing product pages, we'll still use like the real deal structure and balance. Yeah. But it just has to be prettier. And you have to be like a little bit less aggressive. So I can say like, you know, use it for $2.50 a day. The affiliate me would be like, try it for $2.50 a day, right? So I'm going to get a couple people over the line, but they're going to be a little bit upset eventually, but I'll just deal with that. So there's been a few small balances there. But I've been like really enjoying having to like kind of tone it back a bit.
Got it. But I know that's not the only thing you got going on, because you're talking about all the other offers and crazy things that are happening there. What can you share?
Yeah. So the last couple of years has been a lot of stuff with like COVID relief, right? There's been so many different good offers for this, different government programs. So we did the PPP thing. PPP for self-employed people. That was insanity. It was like the first time I spent $1 million in a day. That was just like mind-blowing.
Wow.
I'd never had an offer that just worked on every channel across the board: Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, search, GDN, native. It just didn't matter. And that was really fun. I did that with a couple guys that were also teachers at the school we did.
Yeah.
It was almost all guys that were at the school, believe it or not. Yeah. So that was just crazy. And then I was like, all right, that's cool. And then we saw ERC come around. And we launched ERC ads, and like a lot of the call centers just really were built off referrals. So we're like, all right, we can do it better ourselves if we just run the ads and close the deals. Huge mistake. Kind of still worked, but I just forgot why I hate call centers, and that was a full call center thing. But that was definitely a hell of a run. And then, you know, we continue to like kind of just pillage, right? We find stuff that has an opportunity. Like I try to find offers where there's a lack of equilibrium between like buyer sophistication and cost of marketing or cost per lead and potential revenue per lead. Like when I found solar, like if you think back to where solar is now and you think back to where solar was in 2016, 2016, it was like they were paying 130 a lead. The market was untapped. They were converting super high. And then like they thought we were magicians. Like when I can find a vertical where when I produce lead, the buyers are like, oh my God, you're amazing. And they're not even like, they haven't figured out the metrics yet. There's just so much opportunity. Like we were getting like $120, $130 in New Jersey. Wow. And I look at solar now, it's still the same players, though, but those people that thought I was a magician, now they know their metrics. Right. You know, same with debt settlement, right? Like they know exactly, they have so much data. It's become so sophisticated, the equilibrium's gone. It's like supply and demand has met. So I'm just constantly searching for areas that don't have equilibrium.
That's super interesting. So basically like with solar, for instance, when you came to it, did you have to actually educate them on like
100%?
Like this is what lead gen is all about?
100%. 100%. That's when I love it. Because of my call center background, I know enough to kind of help them. There's a couple benefits, and I'm doing it with an offer right now. So there's a couple benefits of educating the buyers. A, the performance on your leads are going to be better. B, it builds just like a deeper relationship for the long term because you literally like help them get where they need to go. So one of our big solar buyers, when we started with them, they had 10 salespeople and now they have like 1,500 employees.
Wow.
And we were there, like they hadn't ever gotten Facebook leads. They hadn't gotten digital leads. They were dialing off data. So it was beneficial for the relationship, which lasted a long time. And also it gave us the opportunity to see like really how the leads were working. And I'm doing the same thing now with a call center, new project, vertical that's not out there. They'd never taken any inbound leads.
Wow.
Right? No forms, no calls. Had to help them set up the CRM, had to help them, hey, here's how your reps need to status it. You need to call the leads. And I've been investing a lot of time into it. But I think for the long term, they're like married to me and, you know, the juice was worth the squeeze. You know? But obviously sometimes you find them, you put that effort in and it doesn't take. So it's like figuring out what works and what doesn't work. I think like that's been my biggest growth every year. Is like I've never really gotten better at media buying or really that much even better at some of these opportunities, but I got better at identifying what could be a winner. Like I have less strikeouts. I still have a bunch, but my hit ratio on offers has gotten higher, you know?
Would you say it's like a subjective just gut sense, or are there specific metrics that you look at when you're trying to go after a new space?
I think there's definitely always metrics, right? Like margin. I mean, like if I were to go backwards, and I think I'm probably going to talk about this at Geek Out, because a lot of people want to start their own offers, whatever. And I think that that's something I've had strength in, is like step one, I take a look at what is the value to the call center, because if the value is too low, there's never going to be room for me. There's never going to be margin. So I take a look at like how valuable is this client? And then I take a look at the broadness of the offer. Is it a 50-state offer? Does it run on social, or is it strictly search? Like if something is search-based, I'm not interested. It won't scale. It has to work on cold traffic. So those are the two big metrics. It has to be affordable on cold traffic. And then like where I think the gut feel comes into play or the experience comes into play is even if the offer makes sense from like a metric point of view that my cost per lead and their cost per conversion is going to work, is the level of operator that is, whether it be the call center or whether it be the store or whatever the case may be, is like if I can't scale or the operator can't scale with me, it's just not going to work. Or if I'm going to bust my ass and hustle every day, lead by lead, if they're not doing it on their side, the relationship's not going to work. And that is kind of gut or just kind of experience to understand if they can scale with me.
Got it. So it's harder to assess that objectively.
You can kind of get a feel for it at the beginning or take a look at their track record or what have they set up so far. But you really find it in the first 2 to 3 weeks when shit's broke. How fast are they fixing it? Are they answering calls at 10:30 at night? Are they getting what I have to do? Are they giving me what I need? How hard are they hustling? And like the project I'm working on now, their whole team's on point all the time. It's brand new to them, but they get it set up in a day. Oh, we need a CRM. Boom, up in 3 days. Oh, we need to text the leads. All right, up in 2 days. You know, like, so that's really what I'm looking at, because if there's no operator, like lead generation, especially, like if they can't do anything with the leads, no matter how good your leads are, you don't have a business, you know? So that's been more gut feel.
Makes sense. I mean, I think so. The first way that I found out about you, actually, I think you had this native ads training course back in the day.
Yeah.
And what really stood out was how you were able to just, first of all, attract really quality people. I remember your design was sick. And you told me like, yeah, I have this whole design team in Ukraine. And then I'm like, James has this, you have this like magical ability to really attract really high quality people and then also train them. And I'm just wondering, and that seems to repeat itself across all the businesses you're involved in. So what can you share with us on that?
So that's tough, right? Because I need to talk now. I'm not good about speaking about myself in like a positive fashion. I always feel uncomfortable when I'm saying nice things about myself. So I gotta.
But it's true, right?
I have to force myself. I hate to say it, but no, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
I, for whatever reason, outside of marketing, have a really good ability to analyze people.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of my age and my life experiences, that I have like a system to archetype people. And I've met with so many different archetypes that I feel like when I meet certain people, I can quickly put them into my archetypal system and then be like, that's the right person for that, or that's the right person for that. And I think that's been very helpful to me. And I can see like, these are the kind of roles I need. Even if this person doesn't have experience in this, their archetype matches the role. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one thing. And then I think the second thing is that if I meet somebody and even if I can't utilize them in one of my projects, they stay in my database. Mm-hmm. You know, the woman that we hired to take over as chief revenue officer for the ERC company, I had worked with her in solar, right? So we're talking like fast forwarding 6 years. Mm-hmm. But I had always said when I worked with her, if I ever have the opportunity to hire her, it's happening. Mm-hmm. I just sat on that. But as soon as I started the business, I said to my partner, remember this person? It's time. I'm going to hire her. So I think I just kind of keep it in the database. Mm-hmm. So I think, attracting the right people has just been helpful to me in a bunch of areas, you know? Yeah. And I think I do right by people.
Yeah.
You know, like I really try to do right by my teams. And I like always have this focus of like, am I making them better for after me? Mm-hmm. You know, like I take the time to maybe show them more sides of the business that are not appropriate to them. Like let's say it's like a media buyer and I'm making a deal with a call center or I'm making deals with different things. I will explain to them the metrics of the deal, why it's good, what I'm doing to protect myself in the agreement, what's my counterbalance, how am I building in margin. Even though that doesn't really affect their job, I just have a tendency to try to always kind of educate sometimes the bigger picture or how things work so that even after working for me, they can kind of take that with them and kind of have like a little value add. And I think in return, people like to have that happen for them and then they bust their ass harder for me, you know?
Absolutely. And it seems like after that, even you're cultivating a completely new cohort of partners in the future, potentially. Like
it happens, man. Yeah. Like my copywriting agency, which is, I think, like the business, one of the businesses I'm most proud of, right? Mm-hmm. Because I know that the quality of our work is just so badass every time. Like to be an agency that never has missed a deadline for a client and really pumps out quality systematically. I'm super proud of it. And that was originated off of my partner, Brandon, really. Like I have very little input into that business. Brandon was the person that managed me when I was running traffic for Agora Financial. He worked for Agora Financial. And then he came over and started working for us as creative strategist. And then we started the agency together. So it was like a multi-year progression of like finding the right person and then giving them the opportunity to keep landing in a different spot. And now he's like one of the best business partners I've ever had, you know, but he just started out as a point of contact at Agora.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But he fit into a perfect archetype.
So you got the human side of things, which clearly you have dialed, but I think also, you know, like you said earlier, you have these roles and you have the archetype you think is going to fit into that role. How do you actually look at a business problem and then are able to actually parse out, you know, what components need to be in place for it to work?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think I'm that good at that part, to be honest with you. And I question myself more and more. Like if I have a business that's a flop or it doesn't go the way that I want, I'll like kind of be hard on myself with that kind of ability. And when it's going well, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm amazing. I think that for me, like, and I don't know if this is the right way or the wrong way, and it just kind of, it hits close to home because I was having this conversation with a leader yesterday. I'm pretty controlling in the beginning, right? Like I feel like I've got a bunch of knowledge in my head And then I'm trying to impart that into them, right? And there are some people that ask questions, take it in, and that for me builds trust because I know they're going to do it the right way. And I want to give them like a starting point, right? Like when you take a look at an artist or you take a look at a chef, whatever, that has this amazing creative output, they start out with the classics. They start out with the base level knowledge, and then they kind of build it off themselves, right? So like once I get those right archetypes into the right place and I impart my mind into them and we work together for a while, I see that there are certain people that have certain skills to fix certain problems. And then I know like, all right, this is the person that can go in and fix this area, right? So usually people problem matching is just the experience of understanding their strengths and how well do I think they're going to kind of use the insights they've gained and impart that into the problem solving. And a lot of times I get in and do it myself. Like I still get very involved in certain issues. Like I was setting up tracking the other night, right? Because I felt nobody got it, what I wanted, the vision of how I wanted the UTMs to match with the call center. And I was like, all right, dude, there's like a knowledge gap somewhere that I haven't filled. So I'm just going to do this myself.
Got it.
I hate doing that, you know?
Yeah. Makes sense. What about compensation? So how do you think about compensation when it comes to with your teams?
Yeah, I think I missed the mark on this a lot. I think like there's times I overcompensate and there are times that I undercompensate. But usually I end up in the overcompensate bucket. Yeah, I'm not I don't think I'm a good compensator. I overcompensate. I think it costs me a lot. I do think I get premium output and like in turn for that compensation, my expectations for responsiveness and my expectations for hustle are very, very high.
Yeah.
And I don't make a lot of bad choices on acquisition of new talent. Like usually when I acquire new talent, they're pretty good. So they kind of earn the compensation. Obviously, every time I can structure things where they have some type of compensation for their performance, I try to build it in. And I believe that with hustle, you can build into every area outside of accounting. But I think almost every other role you can build it in. Even accounting, you can bonus for like if you hire a new bookkeeper and she finds mistakes of past bookkeepers or she collects receivables, whatever, you can bonus out there.
Yeah.
But every other role, even like creative people, right? You can eventually tag them on a video ad and hey, whichever ad, if it runs a certain amount of time or accumulates a certain amount of spend, I'll break you off on it. Media buying, it's easy, obviously. But I think that anytime I get the opportunity to try to tie performance to compensation, I do it. And then also I try to be very realistic about that compensation based on performance, where it's only in areas that they can actually have an effect on, right? I hate setting up a compensation and the person really can't affect it. So it's like a very ineffective compensation structure,
Got it. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm very anti giving money after the fact. Like it really should be like, hey, X equals Y, not like, hey, here's a surprise bonus, because that didn't really buy me anything. It's some thank you, but it didn't really buy me anything.
Yeah, it makes sense. What would you say, you talked about the analogy of a chef having these sort of the canon of, the dishes you need to know how to make. What would you say is the analogy for marketers? Like what should a good performance direct response marketer know as like a knowledge basis?
Look, as time has gone on, I can honestly say tracking and a really good understanding of tracking should be the base. Like I just think that there's nothing that someone is going to do, and I know Shopify has made it easier, right? For those that run like e-commerce, Shopify made it easier, but especially after like the iOS 14 thing, like if you don't understand tracking and attribution, I think you're going to have like a hard time going forward. As an affiliate, you need to have some understanding. You need to know how to set up volume in red track, Everflow, placing pixels, server to server post back. I think that's like the base level of things, right? And then I think when it comes to on a more media level or creative level, I think there's obviously your basic CTR and understanding the basics of how an algorithm works. But the way that things are now, especially on Facebook, I think you need to have some creative understanding. If you're not even going to make the creatives, but you should still be able to have the concept behind it and understand hooks and testing hooks and kind of like statistical requirements to analyze data and some like basic level things like that that you can just use anywhere, right? Like if you're running on Google, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, you need to know what's the kill metric, right? Like how much data do I need before I make a decision on this creative? So I think that kind of stuff, tracking and basic understanding of the structure of creatives and the way to analyze the creatives, I would say be like my number 1 and 2 thing. Cause I think it's applicable across everything, you know, which is why I think native media buyers end up being really good media buyers in other places is because they understand analyzing data, landing page click-through rate, whitelisting, blacklisting, early indicators, you know? So I think that is like a good baseline of education for people to have before they want to go deep on media buying.
How did you get started in native? Because I mean, that's actually, you were kind of, you know, the native guy, and you've been that way for a long time, obviously with Purple Leads and all that. And I know you literally picked up and moved to go deep on native. So how did that start? How did the whole journey start?
Yeah. So my relationship with native, you can't take it into account outside of Facebook, right? Like it's always, this is my balance. So first time I got into native ads was I had been running Facebook, very old school, like 2013. And you could basically do whatever you wanted. And there weren't like account bans. You were still on like your personal accounts. And I was running student loan consolidation and just started getting super aggressive. Like back when you could, like ads with Obama, and like it'd be like a fake news banner with a picture of Obama with like a student, and then like you know, Obama loan forgiveness program. But you could do that, like it was no issue. And like I didn't even think about compliance back then. There wasn't even really tracking. It was like how many people on my page was going to equal X amount of calls, right? And then I'm running that, and then they banned my account, and I'm like, okay, that sucks. And then I like literally so unsophisticated, just set up like a new account on the same computer, just a fake person. And that worked for a while. And then Facebook started to get smarter, and I just constantly kept getting banned. And I was like, yo, this isn't a way to sustain income. And right around that time, Yahoo Gemini was happening. Like it had just launched. And I was like, dude, fresh traffic source. Let me try that. Lost a ton of money before I figured it out. But I kind of figured it out and then saw an opportunity with native ads. And then finally, when I moved to Israel, I went even deeper on Taboola and Outbrain, and we had like a really good run on all of them: Rev Content, Taboola, Outbrain, Gemini for a couple of years, and they started to get hard. And then I finally got a proper rep at Facebook, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, dude, Facebook is easy. You know, like this is just so much easier than natives. And then Facebook, again, account bans for no reason, like the craziest account ban situation. And I just said, oh, fuck Facebook. I'm going back to natives. And then I wrote on natives for a while. So it's always like kind of a give and take, you know, whichever one's kind of working for me. Sometimes I'll get both working when I dig in on an offer. But usually it's like one or the other, you know.
So $1 million a day, what was the breakout in terms of platform on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say it's probably 300 Facebook, maybe even a little bit more, and then probably 300-400 on YouTube, and then TikTok, Snap, and then finally native was the minimum.
Got it. Yeah.
You know, and it was a varying ratio. It was very interesting. Like I'd never had an offer that allowed me to spend that kind of money, that there was so much money being spent, there was so much impressions happening, that it was effective to look at a tool like Hyros. That's what we used. And I'd never had a chance to see these journeys at scale where it's like, okay, Snapchat is losing on its face, but it's driving so many search conversions. It's really important because like when you take a look at the spend, even when I describe the spend, right?
Yeah.
That whatever, let's say 100K on Snap to make it easy, right? It may have driven 200-300 of the search. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was really interesting to see the way that all of these things play off each other with enough data. Like you don't see it really 100, 200 sales a day of something, even like 1,000, depending on what you're spending. But when you're going like crazy, like we were doing 100,000 leads a day.
That's insane.
Right? Like that was just like, there was so much data so fast. You could see all these patterns that it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. We had this guy Thomas Hopkins on our show from Masterclass.
Okay, yeah.
So they're spending $1 million a day, like day after day after day.
It's insane.
He said it was like flying a plane in World War II, where you have like this gauge over here is, you know, your click-based attribution, and then you got your post-purchase survey data over here.
Yeah.
And then they're doing like marketing mix modeling to like probabilistic stuff, and you're kind of triangulating, say, well, this isn't doing anything on the click side, but on the back end, everyone's saying that's how they found out about us. So pump on the gas there. That's incredible.
No, it's crazy, man. Like it's really crazy. Even just going back to my skincare stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm paying so much attention to the clients, right? Because we're at such low scale. So I see like an abandoned checkout, this lady Judy.
Yeah.
That was actually her name. And like I saw that originally she abandoned the checkout on one ad. And then I sent her discount codes, all this type of stuff, doesn't buy. And then I see her came back in on a completely different ad, different product.
Yeah.
And I just got a chance to watch that search, and I'm like, yo, we're missing so much. You know, like we're consistently with all of this attribution stuff.
Yeah.
The closest I've seen is High Rose. Obviously, some people talk about North Beam or they talk about Triple Whale. But it's a very valuable tool. And I don't want to spend on those expensive tools right now because we're at such low scale.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, it sucks not seeing everything, you know?
Absolutely. And it's so helpful to actually to look at the human journey and not just look at it in that tracking platform. Like do what you did and actually like retrace the footsteps.
Yes.
It's so like humanizing in a way.
Yes.
And it makes you such a better, you know, marketer and messenger for that marketing. So
yeah, there's like shocking learnings by doing it manually.
Yeah.
We have a ton of nurses, like a ton of nurses.
Yeah.
The only way I would know that if I was creeping and found them and what their jobs were and whatever. And all of a sudden I'm like, dude, what a little spot. What like a little niche. Like it's very surprising to do it on a very granular level.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, we're doing a lot on the tracking side. And I mean, I think a lot of these out-of-the-box tools are good for a lot of use cases, but there's always like that last 20% that if you really want to be dialed in, you kind of got to do the work of understanding the business and then really getting in and setting it up all custom. And in the end, it's all, you know, on the back end, it's all the same kind of software. It's some BigQuery or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're just pulling it out and looking at it.
Look, I think long term too, like, I think this is like probably a pretty strong insight. It's like Facebook is so expensive now. Like my CPMs right now are insane. Like I'm paying $100 CPM, okay? And when I started, that shit was like 10 cents a click, 12 cents a click.
Gray sweatshirt girl, blonde girl in the gray sweatshirt days. Remember those days? Like
no, what is this?
Remember that? There's that blonde chick and people used her. She was a blonde, blue-eyed girl, like gray shirt, buxom.
Yeah,
you know, and people used her for like those days.
No, it was
right-hand side ads.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. I started with right-hand side. You know, I started before mobile newsfeed. And as time goes on, it goes back to that quote. I don't know if it was Brunson or Kennedy, like whoever can afford to pay the most for a customer or whatever. And like basically the shit's just gotten so expensive that if you don't have subscription, if you don't have LTV, if you don't have these other things, you can't make money. And like when it comes to the lead generation space, really a lot. And I think there's a lack of connectivity on e-com as well, but it's a bit better because it's all digitalized. Like as soon as you add people, you kind of lose the ability to track. And I think that a lot of marketers just think of the conversion as when someone fills out a form. But the real conversion just happens way down the pipe. Like you need to like kind of reframe your thinking that them filling out of the form is actually a micro conversion.
Yeah.
It's macro to you, but it's micro to the funnel. And the sooner that you can embrace the entire funnel and understand the concept of the value at the very end, then all of a sudden you're able to afford more to acquire a customer, right? Because eventually when you're able to, and we were talking about it a bit before, but like with solar, we were passing data that was allowing us to see which ad, which landing page, which combination of ad and landing page was making deals. We had a sophisticated operator partner. We were able to explain this to them. Hey, we need to get this feedback loop. So now you are interested in what is the cost per lead. And then we work together to get what is the cost per appointment. But there's a fall off between the appointment and the close. Or even after someone closes, there's a fall off on the glass installed on the roof. That glass installed on roof, which is the ultimate conversion, with enough data, you can take that all the way back to the ad. Right? And I think that the more people learn to partner with their buyers and embrace that and work together, eventually you're able to afford good traffic, not just like cheap leads. You know, the price per lead that they can pay goes up because their performance goes up. And I think that's kind of like the future of lead gen. E-com kind of already figured it out. LTV, subscriptions, reorders, because they have that software to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think lead gen is going to have to go that route.
Yeah.
It's where it's going to be something that they can still do affordably.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much opportunity too, especially when you look at our ability now to analyze like sales conversations, at scale. It's wild. I mean, I just, pulling out, was this problem mentioned in the actual script and firing a micro conversion off of that, like there's so many opportunities. It's
no, it
wild.
gets crazy now.
Yeah.
If you utilize it, it just opens up a world.
Yeah.
I think it's like you just stop wasting money on bad ad spend.
Yeah.
I think it's as much as I know what's working,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's an equal value of what's not working,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's the same like with this lead gen project that I'm like incubating now.
Mm-hmm.
We're listening to the calls and we're like matching the script with the ads,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, boom, this is the video ad. This is the page they came in on. What's the script? And like that little optimization so that the script matched the ad
Mm-hmm.
just changed the game. And the script that was updated on the page and in the video ads was a result of listening to the calls and hearing how they pitch it.
Yeah.
They've been pitching the product for 10 years. They just never used social leads.
Yeah.
They got a great pitch. So it's like the pitch that works on the phone, it's going to work on a landing page. That same pitch is going to work in a video ad. So it's kind of just like working it backwards, but taking it from the actual user story conversations to understand how to market it,
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's kind of like on these two levels, we got more and more usage of data and more just like micro tracking everything. And then at the same time, like you going through with these buyers and the skincare stuff, doing that manual route, listening to the actual sales calls. And now with AI and everything else, we can do this at scale. And but then again, it's always, even if you're doing that, it's so helpful to actually, as a human, as a someone who has skin in the game for the business, go in and do it yourself too. It gives you so much more insights.
I know,
as well.
man, because like my mental data set at this point of human analysis, I think is still better than AI human analysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I go in and I actually look at the consumer that's buying my product, what's going to stir up in my brain combined with my understanding of people and also my marketing skills is going to have like kind of a faster effect. I think like digital, and I'm sure eventually AI will beat it also, but I think that digital, it gives you the micro conversions and the ability to analyze it, but getting in the guts, post surveys, speaking to people, listening to calls, looking at customers, it gives you like the whys on how to get there.
Yeah.
And I just, like for me, it's like that research gives me like the texture of it. And maybe I'm using some of the data, maybe I'm not. Like when I'm researching and I can't find the person, I'm like, boom, all right, let's look at maiden names.
Right.
Let's go and see who they're married to. What is their
Yeah.
job? And just dig kind of deeper. And I'm probably not using all that data, but I definitely am when I go back and edit the copy for the next round, you know?
It's interesting too. I remember you and I had a conversation back in the charity school days. And you're always like you're always getting exposed to a lot of really interesting information. And I'm like, hey, how do you actually keep track of all that stuff? And you told me, I don't know if you're still doing this. This was years ago. You said, I don't even take notes. I figure I let it come in and then, when it's time, it'll come out.
Same.
Yeah.
It's the same, dude. I read a lot of books on the brain and how our stuff works because I always want to optimize me better, right?
Yeah.
And I realized a lot of stuff in a combination of reading these things, meditation, my own systems, and I'm sure everyone has different systems. But basically, like the thing about memory is, and this is going to be a multi-answered thing because I'm so interested in it. The thing about memory is there's like two parts of it, right? There's the data acquisition, and then there's the recall of the data, right? And I just feel like if I'm present and listening, and when I say present, I don't just mean not taking notes, but present, like I'm concentrating and not allowing my brain to run off on tangents of what I'm hearing, right? So you're speaking, let's say you give me 5 sentences on a topic. I try to force myself to not hear like sentence 1 and already start thinking about shit. I'm like, just chill, take in all 5 sentences, right? And what kind of predicated this thinking was like, there was a lot of time when I would be meditating, I'd have really good business ideas. Or when I'm in float tanks, I have really good business ideas. And there's always this this instinct to be like, I need to grab it. I need to write it down. I need to take a note, whatever. And at a certain point, I realized like, if it's a good idea, it's going to come back up because that's why it's a good idea. Like if it's just a single shot and I forget it, my system is telling me it's not that amazing. Where if I have a good idea, it usually becomes like a recurring theme in my conversations and everything else. And that was like a big like learning point for me to be like, dude, it'll come back. If it's good, it will come back. I'm just going to focus on this right now. And I find with myself, I call it like my internal algorithm, it makes like its own decisions. If I try to use my rational decisions to stop something, like I wanted to stop smoking weed, right? I was a huge weed smoker, smoked 3 grams plus a day of super strong weed. And like, I wanted to quit, you know, I was like, oh, I should quit smoking weed, right? But I never quit. But when I just kind of became aware of the fact of what I was doing, it was just like one day I was in the middle of a joint and I just had this like revelation where I'm like, dude, I do all this meditation, all this optimization stuff to get my mind really clear. And I'm doing something to make it fuzzy. And like literally mid-joint, put it out, never smoked again.
Wow, that was it.
That was it. But it wasn't because I tried to force it with my rational brain. I was just letting the internal algorithm like guide. It's like that Kahneman book. I don't know if you ever read it, Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. I just think that this is such a big part of the way that our brain functions, and we should allow our internal algorithm to work more. So when it comes to like learning or keeping track of information, I don't think there's a computer better than our brain, you know? So I just want to do as best as I can to let the information get in there, and my brain will utilize it subconsciously as it needs.
Nice.
Sorry, long answer there.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. And I mean, around that, you know, the float tanks, the meditation, like what do you do? What's your sort of routine around that? Or what do you find useful on more of like a tactical level?
Yeah. So my routine's been super shitty in New York because I haven't reestablished it. And it's been very hectic between moving and launching the brand. I really got off path with my LA routine, which was my premium optimized system. And I'm feeling the effects of it, right? So my kind of operating system or operating optimization system is built on using the weekends as like a reset so that the output is really premium on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I have to make like so many decisions every day for so many different things that as soon as that decision fatigue sets in, it goes downhill. And then once the decision fatigue sets in, and I'm also like pretty much a workaholic, so then I find like that empty keyboard time where I'm not really working, but I'm just typing around the keyboard and I'm like looking at things and bullshitting answer emails, but working without intention. So to counterbalance that, what I do is I try to front load my schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't travel on Mondays. So I have my foundation day. Like I'm like, boom, Monday, foundation day, never missed. I get my work done. So if I'm out of town, I don't fly back on Monday. If I'm in town, I don't fly. But I front load Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I try not to really schedule on Friday. So Friday is like a 50-50 decompression day, right? So I bang it out for 4 days. Friday's like half in, half out, because I want to end up Monday excited to go back to work the way you feel when you come back from vacation. You know, when you go to a vacation, you fully relax. Now you're like enthused, especially if you're in love with your business. You're like excited to get back to work, right? And I think that's like the opposite of burnout. So I try to like be in and out on Friday. Saturday, I don't do shit. Like I don't do anything. Maybe I lay around all day. Maybe I go out with friends. Maybe I watch UFC at night. And then Sunday, I try to have at least 1 hour of either infrared sauna or float tank or back-to-back. That is like basically a 2-hour uninterrupted, no cell phone period. That I have like 2 modes when I go into a tank. I'll either be like, I'm going to think about something and that's where I'm going to start this journey, or I'm going to solve a problem and that's where I'm going to start that journey, or I'm just going to go for like a full awareness and let my brain happen. And I do 1 to 2 hours of that on Sundays. I leave like super zen. I try to eat something light, and then boom, on Monday, I'm like just ready to rock. And that's kind of been the most successful process for me.
Nice. What about meditation? You mentioned meditation earlier.
Unfortunately, now my meditation practices have been shit. I'm really like out of zone, but I'd say it's been pretty consistent 80% of the time the last 5 years. That I'm a daily meditator. If I'm really on point, I'm twice a day meditator. I also like to go to meditation classes, which is so silly, like to go to these like kind of bougie places and pay $25 to sit in silence. Like you can sit in silence in your house. Like we could just do it right now for
Absolutely,
free,
yeah.
you know, but there's this nice feeling of, it's called Sangha, which is like kind of like this power of a group meditation. And those classes have been great, right? So it's a 30-minute, usually it's about a 30-minute sit. You have meditation teacher. They talk about some concept up front, kind of like a Dharma talk, some type of obviously non-business related concept about us as people, compassion, self-love, some really like valuable things. And then you sit for 30 minutes. And that's really always like very powerful for me on a kind of awareness type of meditation. In my personal practice, it's usually transcendental meditation. So it's the repetition of a mantra that you're given. And I'll try to bang that out at least 10 minutes, and I'll try to get it twice a day. But if I'm on point, I'll do 20 minutes twice a day. When I fall off my practice, I come back and I just do 3 minutes to get started again. Do that like 2 times and like, boom, let's go to 5 minutes and kind of work my way back up to 10 minutes, you know? Nice. And this is very helpful to help me settle. You know, it's like usually a midday thing and an end of the day thing.
Wow. And what, you know, you being so, I guess, involved in that level of your sort of self-maintenance, how much of your success in business can you attribute to that, would you say?
Dude, I'm going through like all this therapy shit right now just to be like super clear. So I'm like super digging into this stuff. I think it's a lot, man. I think that all of us, right, have some type of insufficiencies from childhood. Like it is what it is. Our attachment styles, whatever the case may be. And then we all have different motivations to become who we are, right? Not to go like super deep and hippy dippy and emotional and stuff. But, and I think that at an early age, I equated my personal value with my ability to make money, right? And somewhere along the line, I was like, dude, I'm not happy. I just need to make more money. I'm uncomfortable. I need to make more money. So there's like been a constant process of optimizing myself to make more money. So there's like a connection between, and it's not just make money, right? That's just like the measurement of performance. It could be doing well at something, winning at sport, winning at chess, whatever it is. But it's always like performance based. And I think I created a lot of these things to help myself perform better. But the reason that they help increase performance is because they help increase like inner peace. And by increasing inner peace, our intuition is better. And when our intuition is better, we're going to make better decisions because we're using that internal algorithm. And then henceforth, we're going to make more money. So like going backwards, I think it has a huge effect, but probably not because of the reasons I think it has a huge effect, you know?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Not to go too deep on that, but it's like, you know, I'm like really exploring this shit recently. So
yeah, what sort of entry points can you recommend for people who want to explore that as well?
Dude, like if you, this is so crazy to talk about this now, but you take a quiz on attachment styles, right? And there's like 3 major different attachment styles. There's secure, which is basic. It all comes back to basically this test that was, they let kids alone in a room away from their mom. And then they had people come in and you kind of are analyzing how the kid is in the absence of their mother, right? And some people are super attached. And they become fearfully attached, right? It's like, you know, my mom's not here, I'm freaking out. And then you have kids that are like avoidant, that they just don't care. They're in their own world because they're not getting that love and care from their parents. So they're like, yo, I'm going to do it myself. And then you have the kids that are secure, that are like, I want to be by my mom, but I'm also comfortable being by myself, right? So there are quizzes like everything else that you can kind of understand your attachment style. And then you start to see from your attachment style, how are you living life? You know, are you living fearfully? And how is that resulting in your performance, either as a human, as a business person, as a partner, whatever the case may be? And I think once you understand that base level, then it's up to you to be like, are you happy with it? Are you not happy with it? So it's like, as far as dropping in, I think you got to analyze like your happiness quotient and say like, hey, where am I at? Am I feeling pretty good? Am I not? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel proud of myself? Can I take compliments? Can I take criticism? And I think there's some people that just go through life and they're like not even open to the idea that these things can be adjusted. They just kind of think like, oh, this is my lot in life, dude. You know? And I think you become what I call like the victim of your life, like not in a bad way, but like, if you feel like you have no control over your life, then you're basically a victim of your existence, right? Because you're not in control. Someone else is controlling your life. I don't know if we control our path or not, but I like to think that I can have an effect on it. And maybe that's what it is. We just think we can. But if you care about that type of stuff and then you look at it, then there's lots of opportunities to say, hey, I'm not happy with this area, whatever. I'm going to talk to a therapist. I'm going to read books. I'm going to try to get to the root of this. I feel like a lot of people in our space as entrepreneurs, and because we do things that require optimization, it works well because like we understand as an entrepreneur, we don't live the norm, right? We're not required to go to a job from 9 to 5 or whatever the case may be. So we're used to kind of living to our own destiny. And we're also used to optimizing things. So I think that's why you see so many people in our role get into like biohacking and mental hacking and emotional hacking.
Yeah.
So I think that the assets are out there. I definitely think therapy's cool. I think reading books is cool. YouTube, like anywhere, if you want to get better, I think it's out there for you. But I think it comes back to first being like, hey, it's just like optimizing a campaign. Like what's broken?
Right.
Is it my creative? Is it my targeting? Is it the ad account? You know, and then you kind of go backwards and say, yo, why am I not happy? What's going on? I mean, obviously it always comes back to us.
Right.
It's something internal that's making our life the way it is. So
it makes sense. And that's full circle back to, you know, performance marketing right there. And
everything for me is performance marketing. Dude. You know what I mean? Like, I can't stop it, dude. It's all the way that I look at life is now like completely imbued in something quantitative like marketing, right?
Yeah.
I just prefer as a person to be able to measure everything, you know, as opposed to feel everything. It's like the way my thought process happens. So media buying is such a nice fit.
What's measured gets managed, right?
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
And so, you know, bringing it back to where we are here in New York City, just a few weeks, we got Geek Out. You've assembled some of the best performance marketers in the world to share the best that they got.
Yeah, totally. There's definitely the quantitative side, which you will 100% learn shit that you can use to make more money.
Yeah.
And there's a qualitative side too, like the networking that happens. Like I'm a technical person, obviously, and a little bit socially awkward at times with networkings. But like if I take a look at the feedback that I get from people, even though I think the technical side is the selling point, usually it's the relationships. There have been so many joint ventures and long-term business relationships that have come out of our events. That's like super dope. You know, we're really big on the audience. Like, you know, we're big into no douchebags, no egos, because that kind of stops the ability to communicate and learn. And then sharing is caring, right? The idea that a candle loses nothing by sharing its flame. This is like a resounding kind of idea over and over, because a lot of time with marketing, especially with affiliates, where you don't have a USP that is like undeniable and you don't have a moat, you know, affiliate marketing, someone rips your campaign, you don't have anything else. You don't own the call center. You don't own the business. We still have a lot of sharing at our events, and it's really dope. We call it laptop learning. Really usually by the lunch session. So we start the day with the education. By lunch, 4 to 5 laptops are out with more than one person looking at the screen.
Yeah.
And dude, that's just a win. That's where the feedback and education happens. When you go to an event and you're running a certain offer and someone else is running an offer and you get the opportunity to start being like, yo, what CPCs do you see? What CTR? What's happening here? Which buyer isn't paying? Right. What, you know, it's like all of a sudden like really cool shit happens.
Yeah.
And then as far as like the speakers that we have, right? We don't have any professional speakers. It's all people that have some experience. Usually it's people that have some experience with our brand and they got value.
Yeah.
So they're like, dude, I want to come in there and give value. So we get a lot of first time speakers that have really fresh content, you know, and really fresh stuff to show people.
For sure.
So the effect on that is exponential. Like I always say it, but like I've had a money back guarantee for these events for my entire time that we've done them. I've never given money back.
Yeah.
Because people always come and they always get value. So it's May 3 through 5. It's here in New York. It's going to be fantastic, people. I've already seen a lot of the attendees, a lot of speakers, amazing stuff, very traffic heavy, creatives, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble. Yeah, dude. Rumble's
Talk
important.
About Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble's important, dude.
Yeah.
We have basically the CMO of Rumble.
Wow.
Very smart, comes from kind of our world, direct response marketing.
Yeah.
I started advertising on Rumble, I want to say like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I am a big believer in like cranking on new traffic sources when there's no competition, et cetera. I was like, I was like in the test batch for TikTok and it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and I was early on Facebook. Rumble, it's like that again.
Really?
Such a good audience.
Even 2 years in, you still
100%. We still spend money there.
Yeah.
Because like, look, what is Rumble? Or at least the audience that I'm hitting? It's true social.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of like very hardcore right wing Christian fucking consumers. Like the best audience there is like the prepper, Trumper, go MAGA, pro Christian in like Kansas. And we find so many of them hanging out there.
Yeah.
And then they've now expanded their audience to basically all the people that get canceled, right?
Wow,
like it's just, they have so many good personalities there. And they have really good cost-effective traffic.
Wow.
And they have a platform that doesn't have that equilibrium yet. So you can find pockets of like intense profitability for the right offer. So I wanted him to come in and he's really going to spend time talking to people, hooking people up with credits that haven't been on the platform, but they're balling somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like legit credits, not like $50, but like really like, hey, we'll match spend. I don't want to make promises for him, but sizable credits. So I'm excited to have Rumble come in and kind of give people exposure to a new channel.
Yeah.
Because it's been very, very good to me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I can speak just on a personal level. The quality of content and networking at Geek Out events is fantastic. And we've had, I think to this day, I have business relationships that came from Geek Out, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Man.
so it's highly recommended.
Yeah, dude, we're lucky, man. We get a great audience, you know, like a good audience brings another good audience, brings another good audience.
Yeah.
And it's like super blessing for me. I never expected it. I created Geek Out because I wanted to learn drop shipping in 2017 or 2006. That's why.
The
like
ulterior
literally,
motive. Yeah.
I started in 2016. I went to the Tan Brothers Mastermind in Thailand, and they were like the gods of drop shipping. And I went to their mastermind. I learned so much. They were so sharing, and I met like great people there. And then when I wanted to continue to learn, I was like, all the other education's bullshit. So why don't I just make my own thing and invite speakers that I want to learn from, but I can charge people so I'm a break even on the event.
Yeah.
Didn't work out that way. I lost money for a bunch of years, but eventually it like kind of took off and it's turned into like an opportunity for me to always get like really good education for myself as well as others, meet people, all that kind of stuff.
That's wild. That's wild lateral thinking right there. Like
you
basically creating events so that you can learn personally.
Yeah, totally.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, because then I get my own content and like even like
curated.
Like even like with these things with the speakers, right? Like I'm driving what they're going to talk about.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. Like, okay, like with the skincare brand, I'm very interested in creatives. So guess what? There's a lot about creatives and creatives with AI and everything else because I know what I want to learn about. You know, and it gives me an opportunity to kind of drive it that way.
Cool. Yeah, that's badass.
Thank you.
Awesome, James. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Yeah, always a pleasure talking to you, and you always got so much cool stuff going on. And
thank you.
I mean, great to learn from you.
Cheers, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me on, dude.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for checking out the show today. Remember that you can claim your 7-day free access to vidtao.com, our app with over 7 million unlisted YouTube ads, landing pages, and funnels. Just go to vidtao.com to start that free trial. This podcast is also sponsored by Inceptly.com. Inceptly is a direct response video advertising agency, and it's generated over $950 million in direct response revenue for Inceptly's clients via video platforms like YouTube, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Meta, and more. They're experts in both producing high-performing direct response video creatives and also scaling the ad accounts themselves, so expert media buyers, and very important, custom deep data analysis to make sure your tracking and attribution is 100% rock solid and tailored to your unique business and funnels. So if you're already spending at least $1,000 per day on ads and looking to take your results to the next level on platforms like YouTube, YouTube Shorts, Connected TV, and more, go ahead and claim a free brainstorm session with the Inceptly team. Just go to inceptly.com/vidtao. That's INCEPTLY.com/vidtao and claim a free brainstorm session. And just so you know, this is not a sales call. On this brainstorm session, the Inceptly team will work with you to uncover insights you and your team can use to unlock new opportunities and scale on video traffic platforms. Just go to inceptly.com/vidtao to claim your spot. All right. Thanks so much for checking out our show and being part of our community. Once again, this has been VidTao co-founder Ian Naj signing off. Have a great rest of your day, wherever you are in the world, and take care.